And I'm going to tickle that record button here. All right, guys, let's do this. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Discussing Trek, a Star Trek podcast where we talk about all things Trek. Hi, I'm Clarence, and today, guys, we're going to talk all about the first episode from the animated series Lower Decks. And once again, I'm your host, Clarence, and I'm joined by my fellow co-hosts / Trekkies, started with none other than the tech story himself, Carrie Brown. Since you're laughing over there, man, what's up?
You have to be careful how fast you say the lower decks. I just thought of that when you said it. Sorry.
In the true spirit of the show, yeah, that kind of goes hand in hand, right?
Indeed it does, sir.
Oh. And also on the podcast. Well, how you doing, man? I don't know if ever.
I'm doing great. Just happy to be back. I know I missed a couple weeks because I'm like the flakiest podcaster in the nation. So glad to be back.
You're great, man. You're great. It's good to have you back, sir. And also on the podcast, we have the Who story himself, Kyle Jones. How are you doing, dude?
Can't complain. I wish I had better lighting tonight, but other than that, I am pretty good.
It's fine, man.
We're curious to see what everybody is going to say about this. So there you go.
Yeah, it should be interesting. And that rumbling voice you hear there is none other than the Trek historian, Jonathan Shorts. How you doing, dude?
No. Oh. I'm sorry, we ain't got to that part yet. I'm good.
That is
man.
also correct.
I'm good. I'm sorry I'm a little late to the show here, guys. I have a little work to do at work. So, as always, I'm late. So, but other than that, I'm fine.
You had to come up from the lower decks.
Too soon, Kyle. Too soon.
Yeah.
but not incorrect.
Yeah, true.
Never forget.
Somebody play the sad trombone. I don't have that. And also in Hattiesburg there, we have Jeremy Barrow, the Stargate historian. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great. I was, just got waiting on Jonathan to get his stuff together so we can get this going.
Yeah, man. Yeah. We are back.
That's right.
We are back in the saddle for another. We're back in the saddle for another podcast, guys, and this is going to be a quick one, I feel. We're going to talk all about the first episode of Star Trek Lower Decks, Second Contact. And also, I'll just say, if you're watching on YouTube, please hit the subscribe button. If you're listening, give us a review on whatever podcast platform you may be listening on. We really appreciate that, guys. And we're just going to get right into it, unless you guys have news. Do you have any news that you'd like to mention before we go into this? Because I have none.
Actually, one quick thing. So there's a rumor that Worf is going to have a cameo here in season 2 of Picard early in the season.
Yay, I'm down for that. That should happen.
Yes.
Most definitely.
So yeah, I'm hoping for that. But that's all the news I have.
Yeah, they pretty much just need to bring back everybody. I mean, come on, at this point. I actually want to see Wesley come back. I really do.
That would be cool too. I would be okay with that.
He should be a captain or something now.
This is my Picard face palm.
There's also a rumor, and it's just a rumor at this point, that they're tinkering with the idea of doing a Janeway spinoff from Picard. They're going to kind of test the waters, I think, in the second or third season of Picard to see if that's something they want to do.
Interesting.
So at what point do we say we have enough spinoffs?
I think right now. Right now.
You can't oversaturate the thing.
Like there's no more lower decks.
This past week, we just jumped the shark. So I think we have enough spinoffs.
We haven't seen the Nickelodeon version yet.
Oh, God.
Yeah, Prodigy. Yeah, just FYI, guys, I don't think this is as forgiving as Skype is when we're talking over each other. So you got to kind of give people a chance, or it just sounds like a bunch of rumbling. All right. And so let me just go ahead and give the synopsis of this episode. Second. Let me go ahead and Hey, it's
Can
free,
you
man. What do you
this episode?
StreamYards is free. What do you expect?
Why is it a duck?
It's a funky duck, man. He's got headphones on.
With the
Yeah.
Skype emblem on?
All right, guys, back to the show.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
So I can't unsee
I
that
couldn't
duck
help
now. I can't unsee that duck. All right. Yeah. So Lower Decks Second Contact, which aired this past week, August 5th, 2020. Ensign Tendi has her first day of work on Starfleet's USS Cerritos, where she meets fellow support crew members, Ensign Mariner, Balmer, and Rutherford. Meanwhile, Balmer is tasked with a secret special assignment, and Rutherford attempts to keep his dating life intact while a sci-fi disaster strikes the ship. So we're going around the horn and get everybody's high level. Is there a high level? Get everybody's view of this episode. And let's start with you, Jeremy, since you chimed in. What do you think of this episode, man? Second Contact, the first Lower Decks episode.
So I like the idea that they can introduce more alien species as they're supposed to look because they're not limited by, prosthetics and makeup and budget and such. And that is the nicest thing I could say about this show.
Wow. Since I think Jonathan is going to have the same opinion, I'm going to go to Kyle Jones.
All right.
What do you
I
think?
am going to say that I actually enjoyed it. It is what it is, and I'm going into it accepting what it is. I didn't have high expectations, so there were things that I did like about it. There are some things that I think kind of fell flat, but there's something at the end of it that actually made it interesting. So I didn't feel like I wasted my time. I actually kind of enjoyed it.
Yeah. All right. All right. I like that. Jonathan, what do you think, dude?
Well, since you just spoiled my review already. Listen. No. Okay. I give them credit where credit. Great animation. Like I think the animation was done very well. There lacked, and I'm saying this nicest way I can, there was a lack of depth in the story. And I know this is a cartoon and it's animated and it shouldn't be like live action, but it was just kind of like, I don't know, like I'm watching a flip book. The little picture flip book.
Oh, come on, man.
There was nothing in it to grab me, really.
Nothing. Carrie, let's hear it, man. What do you got?
Okay, so I feel like there's levels to this. All right. So from a Star Trek perspective, if you're going into this expecting Picard or Voyager or DS9, you're watching the wrong show. Like this is not that. It's not that. Okay, so now that that's out of the way, this is made by the same guy that made Rick and Morty. So Rick and Morty to me is a very smart, very intelligent, very hilarious show. It's not just dumb fun. There's depth and there's it works your brain. So I came into it from that angle. And again, I probably shouldn't be expecting it to be Rick and Morty. But in some ways, I was expecting the creator to bring some of those same concepts to this show, because I feel like they have a real opportunity here to pull in some people into Star Trek that wouldn't be into Star Trek. Like, this is what this is for. This is not for you guys. I'm sorry. It's not for y'all. This is to pull people who would not normally watch Star Trek into Star Trek. So I came into it expecting a smart, funny show, and I feel like they tried way too hard to be funny. It's just the first episode. So I feel like they tried way too hard to be funny. And there wasn't really any kind of cerebral stimulation at all. It was just, this is Star Trek, and we can be wacky and funny and cool. And yeah. And to me, that's kind of where it fell short. Like, as far as the storyline, I thought the storyline was fine. They told plenty of jokes. They had kind of an interweaving sort of arc there. It was the first episode. I mean, I wasn't expecting a whole lot there, but I did feel like that they had some chances to be brainy as well as funny, and they just didn't really. I mean, they had a bunch of softballs they could hit, and they just They just stuck to funny. And in some ways, I can understand it, because if you've never seen Star Trek before and you're like, oh my God, Star Trek, boring, blah, and you watch this and you're like, okay, the Star Trek doesn't have to be serious and boring. Because I'm sorry, for a lot of people, Star Trek is boring. It just is for a lot of people. I can see this pulling people in if they transition from this, kind of like they did with Burnham. What was his show called? Discovery. Kind of like they did with Discovery, where Discovery was like something that was nothing close to Star Trek when it started, and it kind of eases you in. Yeah, kind of eases you into those Star Trek concepts. So I'm hoping, I have a lot of hope for the show. I hope that that's kind of the direction they go in. They kind of hit you with the craziness at the beginning, and then they just, slowly kind of pull it back into Star Trek. So I have high hopes. As far as the first episode, I was a little bit disappointed, but I'm still gonna keep watching it.
Yeah, Carrie, I am definitely right there with you. I feel like it's like you said, we have Mike Mann who's a writer on Rick and Morty. To me, when we think of Rick and Morty now, we think of like where it's been or where it's traveled to over these years. It didn't start out the first few episodes that crazy. It just kept getting crazier and more wacky sci-fi over time. Now, the thing that I'm comparing this to, rather than Rick and Morty, I'm comparing it a little bit to the Orville. As it being the Orville being a show that's supposed to be a funny Star Trek, right? So I think it is the other extreme. If you really think about the Orville just barely takes it in that direction, where this goes all the way bonkers. But all that being said, I do believe that as we get more into the season, and even this story had like I think it had the Star Trek moral to it, and we had this kind of mystery at the end. That's going to, if they keep doing that and laying those breadcrumbs, we had a cliffhanger. I feel like there was a bit of cliffhanger. If they keep doing that, I feel like it's going to be really good. Now, were some of the jokes over the top and, something you never see on Star Trek proper? Yeah, of course. But that being said,
see, I kind of saw it as Star Trek making fun of Star Trek,
a parody show
that they're making fun of themselves to some degree.
I don't know. I don't think they were making fun of themselves. I just think all of of course, when we get into the plot of what was going on, that's something that's happened on many Star Trek shows. Virus unleashed on a ship, things go crazy. Not to me,
that was the worst part of the episode. But it's happening.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, to me, that was the worst part of the episode, was the whole virus thing. Like, as generic and as like predictable as the comedy part was, like that was the most like generic part of the show to me, was the virus on the ship. And I don't even watch a whole lot of Star Trek.
It's been done plenty of times, not to this extreme. But it's been done plenty of times.
All right, I want to say something real quick before Jonathan makes any more comments. Because I actually want to take up. I'm actually taking up for Jonathan, or kind of backing Jonathan up, because as I was watching this, I was anticipating you not liking this. I really was anticipating, I was like, what is Jonathan going to say? Because he's not going to like it. That being said, what made me think of was this, or if this were a Time Lord Lower Decks, where they're making fun of Doctor Who,
you would hate
it. Would be all about I would hate it, and I would be like, oh, how could they be doing this? So I can kind of understand where you're coming from, because if anybody I think is a Star Trek purist on this podcast, you fit that bill. So I'm backing you up on whatever you're about to say. So that's why.
Well, before I want you to go, Jonathan. But let me say this real quick, Kyle. Let's take that a little bit further. There are instances of Doctor Who where we have more lighter versions and even more ridiculed versions of Doctor Who in some shape or form that have come out over the years.
Yep, more adult that people kind of questioned, and more, for younger audience that people have questioned. So yeah.
John, go ahead, because I feel you have a lot to say there.
Well, not really. So, Kyle, I appreciate the backup, but at the same time, I knew going into this not to not to expect Star Trek. That's not what I was expecting going into this.
Oh.
I knew it was Star Trek, and I knew it'd see some Trek and things, but I wouldn't expect, I wasn't saying, oh God, this is nowhere near what I'm used to. I already knew that wasn't going to be the point. I went into this specifically expecting a good animated series based on a subject matter that I'm emphatic about. So when I watched it, I was expecting to laugh about it. I was expecting, like Harry said, I wanted to have something to kind of make me think a little bit. But it just seemed like, I'm going to tell the best way I can say it, you could tell that the showrunner knew it was only 30-minute show. It was rushed. It was very rushed. Things happened really fast. There was no thought. It's just like someone sit down and said, we're going to make a cartoon for 30 minutes and we need to get it out there like next week. Let's do it.
Okay, I have a question for you. Have you ever watched the cartoon before? Like you can't make an hour cartoon. Like
I know you can't make an hour
nobody's gonna
cartoon.
sit through that.
But good God, Bugs Bunny put more thought into their 15-minute sections. You know what I mean? Like,
come on, John.
Again,
guys.
John, I'm kind of there with you on that though. To extend the olive branch, I'm kind of there with you. I feel like they could have done a lot more, but the thing that I'm optimistic about is this is just the first episode. This show has so much potential to be like really, really good and to be a staple for Star Trek. Like that's the thing I'm excited about is that they've got a whole lot of runway that they could do cool stuff with. Now, are they going to do it? Yeah. I don't know, but
I think they need to start with let's not try to be funny. Like immediately what threw me off when she cut his leg with the bat lift.
That was a bit much.
It reminds me, like I said on our last review, like you have a baby or something and you like smack your head on the wall to make them laugh. Like it's just doing crap for the sake of making you laugh, and that's not what I wanted to see.
Well, that didn't make me laugh. I thought that was kind of dumb.
Yeah,
the
whole thing was dumb.
But there were multiple things like that happened throughout the show that was just doing it just to make you laugh.
Now the part with her catching him in the closet doing the captain's log, that was funny.
Yeah. That was funny. That part was funny.
The Blade thing was not funny, but that's stuff that I feel like they're going to figure out. You know, like
and see, there's my next problem. That part in the closet when he's doing the log, that was funny. But guess what took away from it? That was in the trailer. We already knew that.
Who cares? It was still funny. I don't care if it was in the trailer or not.
Yeah, it was funny, but I mean, that's what I'm expecting to see the rest of it. Like they started at the top and then went down. Like if you see a trailer, I'm thinking, okay, that was pretty funny. They can only go up from there.
Have you
like that was the funniest part?
I don't know. Like trailers to me are things that make people watch the show. That's all they are. Like I've seen trailers. I've seen trailers where they tell the entire story of the movie in the trailer before. So like that. I mean, even if it is the funniest part, which I feel like is kind of debatable, but even if it is, like I don't think that's a demerit that they put the funniest part in the trailer. They want people to watch it. Like if that's the funniest part and it gets people to tune into the show, like I think that's
what I got a problem with. They just didn't live up to that.
It's the funniest, John. First episode. You scream of like I'm gonna equate this to music. Metallica releases the Black Album. Fans are like, how dare you release something that's not for us? Ben Folds 5, when they came out with Brick, same thing. The fans were like, this is not for us. How dare you do this? And I feel like this is kind of the same thing. Like you can't get upset at them for trying to branch out. Are they going to get it perfect? No. And I can't believe I'm defending this show because me and my brother were talking about it before the cast, and I was like, I don't know, but like again, I feel like there's like loads of potential here, and I feel like he should be optimistic instead of like crucifying the show on the first episode. You know,
well, let's say I'm crucifying the episode. I'm not crucifying the show. I'm crucifying the episode. It wasn't funny. Plain and simple, it wasn't funny.
But I have to go against you there. I think there were parts that were funny. It just may not have hit for you personally. And there's nothing wrong if it didn't.
It was kind of hit or miss. So I'll give you that. You know, maybe it wasn't funny to you, but You know.
But then again, I'm the guy that didn't really like Rick and Morty. Like I haven't really watched a lot of these newer cartoons out. Like things just start getting too silly, too.
Well, let me ask you this: where does it fail where the Orville succeeds?
It makes you think. I mean, the Orville, you kind of have to dig for the comedy. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's not just like, hey, look, hey, that was funny. No, it wasn't. Like Orville, they say things like they're quirky, not quirky. Like, I don't know the word to use it, but it's like
eccentric.
I guess, you know, it just makes you think. Like you can miss a joke if you're not paying attention, or if you don't know a reference, you can miss a joke or miss a joke.
So I'm going to name two characters that I feel like in Star Trek history are pretty much over the top, but I've never heard you really ridicule them. So number one is Neelix. Neelix is always, he has a few heartfelt moments, but 90% of the time he's over the top. I'm the morale officer. Ha ha ha. and then on the other side, I think of Rum on DS9. He is always just over the top, goofy, and you know, I wouldn't just say slapstick hilarious, but he's never a serious character, but nobody questions him like that.
So I'll give you that. Now imagine if Voyager, everybody on the crew was Neelix.
But everybody wasn't Neelix.
Yeah.
And that's the point. This show.
No, but everybody's
on this
on his show. And that's pretty much Ensign Beckett, Mariner. She's the goofy person. Everybody else is more so fish out of water a bit.
Not the characters. The whole show is Neelix. That's my problem. Like the whole show is over the top silly.
I don't know, John. I don't know.
Now I'll give you the beginning part was pretty over the top, but I feel like they kind of reeled that in a bit as it went on, except for the whole virus thing, which I totally hated. So I'm right there with you on that. Like to me, that was not funny at all. It was.
But see, I saw the beginning as a parody. Again, I'm going back saying that they were parodying themselves. I saw Burnham's first episode where she's arriving and it's all serious, etc. and so forth. And here's this character arriving and it's all woohoo! Look at me.
Yeah, this show is not a drama, so you're not gonna have like 80% cerebral, 20% comedy. The comedy stands out more when there's not a lot of it, and I feel like that's one of the challenges they're gonna have with this show. It's a comedy, that's what it is. So, you know, it's got to be funny,
but they've got to learn smart comedy.
Yeah,
that's probably kind of where it's missing me because I'm not a fan of that. Like that whole when everybody was into Jackass and all of those shows, like I never got into all this stuff. A lot of Will Ferrell movies I don't get into. I just don't like just comedy just to be comedy. I
don't think it's that bad. I think everybody around Tony Newsom's character, Ensign Beckett, is just trying to. They're mostly normal. It's her. She's the linchpin in the comedy to me.
And even with her, that's one of the positives I took from the show was that she has this goofy exterior. You know, she acts like she doesn't really care that much, and she's probably one of the most caring people on the whole show. I mean, if you really look at it that way, and like that's one of the things that kind of gave me hope that they are kind of trying to weave that line of, you know, trying to build up characters while also being funny. This is hard. It's hard to do, man. Like everybody can't be Dave Chappelle. Like it's very, very difficult. So I'm gonna give him a chance.
I do like that. I mean, Ensign Beckham, however she said, whatever her name is. Like I like that character. I pretty much like all the characters. And my hope going forward is like, as you say, Gary, I just like to watch that growth, like watch them develop those characters. That would pull me in more. But I mean, as of right now, you're just introducing the characters. It didn't get me.
Dude, you hated the first episode of Picard, so like
I didn't. Jeremy hated it.
Oh, was Jeremy?
Yeah, pretty much as well.
Yeah, I mean, let me say this. I think they add such an interesting bit to Mariner's history with, you know, what we find out by the end of the episode. To me, it gives her a justification for acting out,
Yes.
even though it's totally against Starfleet protocols and she's doing stuff that she shouldn't do. She shouldn't be helping these pig people on this planet. Whatever they were, I forgot the
You
name.
just
of the
said
race.
pig people.
I call them pig people. They look like pig. I don't know.
Yeah.
They look
Purple-
like pigs.
The purple pig people.
What they, the Mandorians, what are they called? I had it written down somewhere.
Give me the shovel.
Pigs and
Is it Galadorians?
place.
The Galadorians, which I think those are a throwback to a TAS episode. If I read that correctly. But yeah, they brought them back. But still, she is going against Starfleet protocols, obviously in a lot of things she's doing. But I think they give the justification for why she's doing it. This is her last chance, basically, sounds like what the captain was saying by the end of the episode. So, I found like they gave a good enough justification for why she's that way.
Yeah, because I did not like her character, honestly, until I found out what I found out at the end.
Yeah, it gave her some depth, man.
Yes, absolutely.
See, I kind of hated that revelation, though.
Really?
I felt like that was just kind of forced and just kind of they were trying to force us to sympathize with her instead of giving her own reasons.
I don't know, man. I thought it was a good enough reason, in my opinion. But real quick, I wanted to just real quick talk about the Next Generation Lower Decks episode, because I did go back and watch that as well. That's actually a really sad episode. And it's funny that they're calling, this under the same name, because that episode ends on a dour note, man. I was like, well, wow. I hadn't seen it in a while. And yeah, it is pretty sad. But getting into more of the plot, classic Star Trek, go on planet, transporter buffers, doesn't pick up disease, come back, calamity ensues. And then, they did the added twist in this episode. Instead of everybody can find the quarters or whatever, everybody's turning into zombies. And we've mentioned more than once already, that's really weird. But I will say the jewel out of that is that I really freaking love the doctor character.
Yes, the cat.
Tiana. She's awesome. She definitely has that Dr. McCoy vibe. She's real stern, and I really loved everything about that character.
Yeah, the visual, everything I liked. And let me ask you this: has anyone ever thought about Second Contact before? In all of Star Trek, have you ever thought of Second Contact?
Absolutely not. And that justifies the show right there.
Right, exactly. That's one thing I liked about it, because it made me think of a concept I've never thought about in Star Trek before. What happens when you have to go back after first contact? Yeah,
I mean, and it takes that idea of, what we get from the Lower Decks episode in TNG. And also there's a Tuvok episode where he's training some people that are falling behind in Voyager. It takes that idea of where we're not just on the flagship with these people at the bottom. We're on a bottom ship with these people. even the captain is not even the most regaled captain in Starfleet. Everybody on the ship is at the bottom. Yeah, the lower decks. So I mean, I find that very interesting, because after we have followed the flagships for so long, it's easy to think that everything in the Star Trek universe is glamorous and pretty and perfect.
Agreed.
All right. Well, I'm gonna throw it out to say, or to ask, I guess, who are you guys' like favorite characters other than Ensign Mariner? Any other thoughts on any of the other characters? Because I have some stuff to say, but I'll throw it out to you guys to see if there's any interest in any other characters y'all had.
I need to pull up the character names.
All right. So while you're looking for them, I did like the cat doctor. I thought that was a standout character. I also liked the cyborg guy, but I didn't like the way, I thought he was underutilized. I thought they didn't know how to utilize him. I think there could be some funny things they could do, but what they did just kind of fell flat to me.
Yeah, they had this justification that because his modifications, he has these quirks that he can't stay focused, and he has this beautiful girl who he takes on a spacewalk, and they survive this I'm not gonna say pandemic, this thing on the ship. And usually when in movies it happens thousands of times, when couples go through something like this, they get closer. But at the end, he's like, yeah, I like take more. So I found that interesting.
She's not smart enough for me.
But I thought that put him and the Green Girl kind of on a trajectory a little bit.
Oh, she may be my favorite character.
Yeah.
I didn't realize she was Orion at first. I really didn't, because the green is a little different pigment than the normal Orion green. But once I realized that, I'm like, oh, she is definitely my favorite character, because usually we see Orion's like sexualized and the dancing girls for Kirk and who knows else. But I really liked Ensign Tendy's character. She reminds me a lot of Dax 2 or Ezra Dax. For some reason, she reminds me of her a lot.
Yeah.
I didn't realize she was green, so we're both colorblind.
Yeah,
I think she's
colorblind too.
I didn't see it at
Different
all.
colorblind though. There's like 3 different kinds or something. For me, I liked Rutherford. Like that whole, to me, that was my favorite part of the show, is that he goes on this date. He's talking to this girl. They kind of like hit it off a little bit, but then the tragedy thing happens, and like he like totally nerds out. Like this has happened to me before. He totally nerds out, right? And the girl's like, "Why aren't you paying attention to me?" And he's like, "Bye." Like that's,
yeah.
I totally identify with it. So like I thought that was really cool. That was probably my favorite part of the whole episode. And then he meets a fellow nerd afterwards, and it's like cool. Like I thought that was cool. So that was probably my favorite part of the whole episode.
And they're going to become an item. Just you wait.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And they definitely just copied Cyborg completely. He reminds me of Cyborg in every way.
Yeah, I did too. When I first seen it, that's exactly what I thought about.
Yeah, that joke at the beginning wasn't funny though, where she like
did the thing with the eye.
The screwdriver.
Yeah.
What do you call it, Kyle? The
sonic screwdriver.
Yeah,
she didn't even have a sonic.
She just But like she just zapped him in the head. He's like, "Oh my god, thanks for helping me." I was like, "What?" That was not funny. But the stuff that happened after that, I really enjoyed. So,
and I think we do have to mention the underlying story of Balmer, who is, to me, reminds me of Harry Kim in a lot of ways, but just to the extreme. But we have to think about the underlying story of him being enlisted to spy on Ensign Mariner. So I thought that was interesting. And, again, this is stuff you see in other shows all the time. So nothing new really there. I will say we did get a lot of Easter eggs in this episode as well. I think that is kind of another thing they put in there, at least this time, to tie people over to get them into it. There were quite a bit of them in here. From the Argo-esque vehicle on the planet. Of course, we mentioned the Batleth. There, what else?
All the name droppings at
the
end.
That was the other thing that kind of fell flat with me, was the name dropping at the end.
Yeah. They had the spacewalk like on First Contact.
Yeah. And in the motion picture, didn't they do that too, the spacewalk?
Yeah, maybe. I know they did in the First Contact movie. But yeah, there's a scene where when they have the black juice going everywhere and everybody being zombified, that one of the Vulcans gets some on his face and he looks just like Mirror Universe Spock with the goatee. I thought that was cool. But yeah, it has a lot of Easter eggs in it. And judging from what I've seen from YouTube interviews of Mike Mann, I think they're going to keep that up. So I don't know, man. I see this as the version of Trek I can just look at, kick back, and I don't have to think too hard, which is kind of the point for me. I can just chill and just take it as it is. So I don't know. I enjoyed it.
I have a question for all you guys, because I'm not sure about the folklore here in the nomenclature, but it did make me nervous that like so many people had red shirts on. Like, is that like an inside thing, or is the commander normally red
Yeah.
shirts?
Yeah, red in TNG forward.
I thought that was the security people.
Well, they switched it to TNG and TOS.
Oh,
And
okay.
TOS, just the red shirts are the people are the operations. No, well,
Starters
yeah, the
command.
operations. In TOS forward, I mean TNG forward, they switch it around, which is that's weird. But yeah, I like the uniforms too, man. I want me one. But anyway.
All right. So one thing I want to add real quick is one of my favorite parts actually was the opening credits, because there were little hints that reminded me of each major show as you go through, from some of the fonts that they use to some of the things that happen. And it was just fun watching it for the second time, seeing like where they go to the Borg and there's this fight and they're turning around, they're going in the opposite direction. There were just some cool things like that I thought were fun.
That was fun. Yeah.
So, man, we're gonna wrap this thing up. That's about all I have. If you guys don't have anything else, we won't give let's give a rating. Let's just throw it out there. Let's give a rating. 1 to 5. I'm gonna say a solid 4. I enjoyed it. Anybody want to give a rating?
I'm gonna give it a highly optimistic 3. I mean,
Kyle? Go ahead, Kerry.
Just because I feel like the show can get a lot better than it is now.
Yeah.
Is the only reason I'm not rating it higher than that. I'm not rating it a 3 because I didn't like it. I'm just going off of like what I feel the potential of the show.
Yeah, giving it room to grow.
Yeah.
Understood.
All right. So based on what Carrie just said, I'm going to take it one step further, but give it a 3.5 based off of what you, Clarence, said last week when you said something to the effect of you want to do your rating based on what you see as the very, very best. And I do see that there's some growing potential, but I did ultimately enjoy it. So 3.5.
Jeremy.
I'm going to give it a 2, but hope that it does improve over the season and that it does become the show that we want it to be, and let it finally. Historically, just Star Trek has needed like the first season or 2 to find its feet for the different series. And I'm hoping this one uses it properly to find its feet so that next season, moving forward, if there is a season 2, gets better.
I think they already greenlit it.
Well, then I hope they do it right.
No, I think they're actually working on it. Well, no, they're finishing up this season, but I think they did green light a season 2 already.
Yeah, this is probably the cheapest Star Trek show ever made. So
Heck
I don't see why.
And they have so much potential to do with it. Like I said, with introducing the different aliens, you don't have to worry about prosthetics, and they can keep those different species like to the forefront.
Yeah, we'll never have occasion on a normal show. I don't think. Maybe we have. I don't think, but. Yeah, John, what do you think, man?
I'm gonna give it a 1.5.
Okay,
And
slightly more optimistic than I thought.
Higher than I thought you'd give it.
Well, here. So you get 0.5 from me for just being Star Trek. So that's a 0.5. But I mean, I'll give it a solid 1 point, just because, again, like I started off saying, the animation was great. Like I was hoping, I mean, we seen it before I seen the trailer, I was hoping it wouldn't try to do like that cheesy kind of 3D animated type craziness. Like I just wanted a good 2D kind of, animation, traditional animation. And that's what I got. So 1.5, I think 1.5. And hopefully you guys are very optimistic, which makes me optimistic. So hopefully we go up from there.
I can get behind that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So help me out here, guys. What's the animated Star Wars show? Is it Clone Wars?
There's been several.
There's Clone Wars.
Rebels.
There's a Tartakovsky Clone Wars, then there's a 3D Clone Wars, and then Rebels. Rebels is the best Star Wars thing, period. I'm sorry. Fight me.
Go ahead. Well, I brought up to say this because I think when Clone Wars first came out, people were like, what the frack is this kitty? You're kidifying my Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this is something different. This isn't a kid's show, but still it's an animated version of what we know and love. And over time, as Carrie mentions, Clone Wars, along with Rebels, those have become some of the
best Star
most
Wars.
beloved Star Wars properties over time. Now, will this do that? Probably not, but I still feel like there's a lot of room to grow and a lot of room for this to be beloved when it's all said and done.
As long as they put a little more thought into the comedy, I'll be good.
Yeah,
The
and
character development will be great. That'll be a good plus if they keep that on that track. The animation will be great. If they put a little more thought in the comedy aspect of it, it'll be perfect for me.
Yeah, I think they should go more Futurama, less slapstick, like cheap humor.
Yes.
More in the Futurama direction. I feel like would be
I think that's
better
smart.
for this show.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, and honestly, that's the one thing I hate about Rick and Morty. For all the good sci-fi stuff they bring up, they're over the top in the
it's way over
silly
the top.
spectrum. Yeah. All right. Well, we're going to wrap this thing up. Let's go around the horn and see what everybody's been working on, or a parting gift, podcast related or otherwise. And we'll start with you, Jonathan. What's up, man? What you got?
Hello. Man, just working, man. Working. Again, I'll say it's the last time watching The Expanse. I'm still going on that, so that is amazing. You guys should tune into it.
Yeah.
And anybody's looking for a good motivational story, you definitely should Google David Goggins. I've been kind of consuming a lot of his stuff he has out and things he talks about. Very motivating individual, very harsh language. So if you're offended by that, don't do it. But man, his story is very inspiring. Makes you kind of challenge yourself. So definitely check that out.
Awesome. What about you, Jeremy?
My life has not really been that positive, but I'm still trying to. Just moved into this house. I'm still trying to get in order. I just got a puppy that I'm still trying to.
What is the name of said puppy?
Her name is Esri.
Ah, okay.
There was a fight to get Esri, and there's still a fight actually. But she's already got the name tag, so it's final.
It's a done deal.
So she's still trying to introduce her to the cats and all that, and just still life is changing and just still adjusting.
You should get a pug and name him Morn.
I want a pug so bad, but they're also highly expensive.
Oh man!
I will accept a gift of a pug if anyone out there says, "Hey, Jeremy looks like he could use this baby pug."
Send it to our Patreon.
That's right.
Cal Jones, man, what about you? What you got, dude?
I would say that anybody that's a fan of Doctor Who, of course, can catch you, me, and our friend Lee Shackelford on Discussing Who. And you can find out more at discussingwho.com.
All right. Sounds awesome. Carrie, what you got, dude?
Okay, so me and my brother, we do this podcast every now and then called Tech Petition. So, I think we're going to put something out this week, so look out for that. Also, unrelated to that, just as a bonus, we mentioned Star Wars Rebels. If you have not seen Star Wars Rebels and you are a Star Wars fan, you owe it to yourself to watch this show. I would put it up against anything outside of the original trilogy. It's as strong as the original trilogy, in my opinion. But outside of that, and to keep things kind of Rick and Morty, if you haven't seen this, the two voice actors for Rick and Morty, they read this court transcript of like this actual court session. I'll see if I can find a link, but it's so over the top that you think it's not an actual transcript, but it is an actual court transcript, and it is hilarious. It has a lot of cursing in it, so if you are sensitive to that, you probably don't want to watch it. But yeah, just Google Rick Morty court transcript and you'll find it. Like, it is hilarious. So yeah, that's all I got.
Awesome sauce. And I would say for me, stay locked into the Relativity podcast, where we are finishing up the final season tier. And yeah, just that show has been wonderful to work on. And I just encourage everybody, if you haven't listened to the Relativity podcast, go to your podcatcher of your choice and check it out. Download it, listen. It's awesome. We'll end off by saying send any fan mail you have in to fans@discussingtrek.com, or hit us up at Discussing Trek on any of the social medias. So until next time, guys, live long and prosper.